They're just absolutely beautiful. The credit goes to George Morgan, the engraver who created this gem. And I don't know if you can see it properly in close-up, but if you want to try something new in 2019, you're curious, want to see more, and thinking of starting to collect these, you can visit the website historicalsilvercoins.com, where you'll find loads more information, prices, and great video about the history behind these coins. So go to historicsilvercoins.com and save $5 per coin by using the code X22. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, when we talk about the plan, we talk about bringing down the central bank. We talk about arrests. When Trump talks about draining the swamp, we think of those people that are treasonous and corrupt. But we never think about those individuals that are part of the system that have been put into place to bloat the system economically. And this is what we call government. Remember, the central bankers, the elite, the globalists, they were putting all their people into place for a reason. They were bringing more and more people into government, bloating it for a reason. And when Trump talks about draining the swamp, it's not just those treasonous people. He has to drain the economic swamp to prepare the United States for this transition that we'll be going through. And we'll be talking about that in just a moment. But I wanted to go out to the UK with the Brexit. The Brexit deal is not going over too well here. And according to the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, and President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, the EU is ready to double efforts in talks if the Brexit transition period is extended. They noted, however, that Brussels would not agree to any changes to the deal. So we know the UK government, they are going to vote on this on January 15th. But at this point, I don't think May is going to get enough votes for her deal. And if they postpone this, the EU says they don't have a problem with this, but don't expect them to change their deal. Why do they want them to extend the deadline? Because they want May to convince her government to vote on this Brexit deal. The EU is not going to give in. And we can see at this point that May might be finished after this. Now, we were talking about the U.S. and the shutdown right now. And coming out of the Daily Caller, there was this op-ed, and I'm going to read part of it to you so you can get some idea of what this individual is talking about. It begins as follows. Federal employees are starting to feel the strain of the shutdown. I am one of them. But for the sake of our nation, I hope it lasts a very long time, till the government is changed and can never return to its previous form. The lapse in appropriations is more than a battle over a wall. It is an opportunity to strip wasteful government agencies for good. On an average day, roughly 15% of the employees around me are exceptional patriots serving their country. I wish I could give competitive salaries to them and no one else, but 80% feel no pressure to produce results. If they don't like doing what they're told, they don't. Why would they? We can't fire them. They avoid attention, plan their weekends, schedule vacations, their second job, their next position. Some do this in the same position for more than a decade. Process is what we serve. Process keeps us safe. Process is our core value. It takes a lot of people to maintain the process. Process provides jobs. In fact, there are process experts and certified process managers who protect the process. Then there are the 5% with Moxie career managers. At any given time, they can change, clarify, or add to the process, even to distort or block policy counsel for the president. Saboteurs peddling opinion as research, tasking their staff on pet projects, or pitching wasteful grants to their friends. Most of my career colleagues actively work against the president's agenda. This means I typically spend about 15% of my time on the president's agenda and 85% on my time trying to stop sabotage, and we have no power to get rid of them until the shutdown. Due to the lack of funding, many federal agencies are now operating more effectively from the top down on a fraction of their workforce, with only select essential personnel serving national security tasks. One might think this is how government should function, but bureaucracies operate from the bottom up, a collective of self-generated ideas. Ideas become initiatives, formalize into offices. They seek funds from Congress and become bureaus or sub-agencies, and maybe one day grow into their own independent agency like ours. Nature of big administrative bureaucracy is to grow to serve itself. But Trump can end this abuse. Senior officials can reprioritize during an extended shutdown. Focus on valuable results and weed out the saboteurs. We do not want most employees to return because we are working better without them. Sure, we empathize with their families making tough financial decisions like mine, and just like private citizens who have to find other work and bring competitive value every day while paying more than a third of their salary in federal taxes. Trump has created more jobs in the private sector than the furloughed federal workforce. Now that we are shut down, not only are we identifying and eliminating much of the sabotage and waste, we are finally working on the president's agenda. Trump does not need Congress to address the border emergency, and yes, it is an emergency. Billions upon billions of hard-earned tax dollars are still being dumped into foreign aid programs every year that do nothing for America's interest or national security. The president does not need congressional funding to deconstruct abusive agencies who work against his agenda. This is a chance to effect real change, and this leverage grows stronger every day the shutdown lasts. To be a victory, the shutdown must be different than those of the past and should achieve lasting disruption with two major changes, or it will hurt the president. The president's instincts are right. Most Americans will not miss non-essential government functions. A referendum to end government plunder must happen. Wasteful government agencies are fighting for relevance, but they will lose. Now is the time to deliver historic change by cutting them down forever. So when we talk about draining the swamp, Trump right now, with this shutdown, is draining the economic swamp. He's getting rid of the bloat in government. Yes, the deep state, the saboteurs, and everything else, but he's getting rid of the wasteful agencies because this is the perfect time to go in, and if you keep the shutdown long enough, people start to notice that we don't need these individuals. Think about the mainstream media right now. Think about what they're doing. They are holding up signs of people saying 800,000 people without pay. We need to stop the shutdown. Comey is out there and others saying that we need to stop this. We need to bring these people back. Why are they so pushing this? It sounds like they really care about these people, but they realize what's happening. They realize that Trump is draining the economic swamp in government and taking the entire government and downsizing it. Remember, over the many, many years, the deep state, the central bankers, they kept adding people to the government. How do you do it quickly and prepare for the transition? Can you start going agency to agency and say, listen, we need to shut this down? It would take a very long time. If you have a shutdown, it affects almost everyone. And it shows, because these individuals and these departments are going to be writing reports showing that they don't need all these people. This was done on purpose. Why do you think Trump right now is not declaring a national emergency? He's waiting this out. It's not about the $5 billion. It's not about the Democrats. It's not about any of this. He knows that they're not going to do anything. He knows that this is what the true agenda is really about. It's about draining the government swamp and reducing the footprint to prepare the country for the transition. Because the government right now spends a lot of money on all these different agencies. The government doesn't have the money to pay all of this out. Everything is changing. And yes, in the process, he will remove all those people that are working against him. Remember,